Hi, so today I'm going to be looking at changing over a light in a caravan into an LED one. And this one has in fact broken. It stopped working. I changed the bulb and it still didn't work. So something's probably wrong with the bias. So rather than mess about with it, I'm just going to swap it out for an LED. And the LED is going to be taking a lot less current, and so it's going to not drain the battery as much. Lots and lots of different ones on the market. This is the one I've got. Very simple, 2 wires coming in. It's got a switch on the front. Beware when you're buying these online, there are some very tiny ones around. You can accidentally buy, and then when it arrives it's much smaller than you thought. Also need to double check that it's 12 volts. Lots of them are 240 volts, and you don't want that because it's not going to work. Okay, so we start off. I've taken off the cover. It's one of these, if you want to rescue the light, be very, very careful taking this cover off, because these 3 little lugs, they break off really easily, so beware of that. You basically have to squeeze it and it'll pop off. Once you've taken it off, I can get access to the screws that are holding the thing in place. So the first thing to do is pop it off the ceiling. Okay, and immediately you can see where all of the wiring is. So we've got wires going here into the switch, and then from the switch they're going off into the main board. So these are pretty much fixed in. So I think the easiest thing to do is just to chop them. We've got plenty of wire here, we've got plenty of wiring, so let's grab some wire cutters. So here we are. Snip these. Now before you do this, double check that your master is switched off and that your light is switched off. These are only 12 volts, you're not going to get a shock off it, but you might be able to short out between the two. And if it's live, you can either blow the fuse, the lighting fuse, or if you're really, really unlucky, you'll start to melt some wires in the roof or the wall, and you don't want that. So make sure it's switched off. So snip these off, and there we go. What I'm going to do is just strip the wire off to bare wire, just sort of maybe ½ centimetre from the end, so I can actually connect to them. So one, bit difficult holding it up above your head. Okay, and there's the second one. Okay, so now that I have taken the wires off, taken the thing off, I just want to double check with my meter that we're getting 12 volts. In fact, yes, we are getting 12 volts, so that's good. Next thing is to connect these wires up. Now I've discovered that these wires here are actually on these things, so it's a little spade terminal. So rather than connect the wires from my existing one onto the spade terminal wire, what I'm going to do is just get a new spade terminal. You can pick them up for next to nothing, and just crimp them onto these wires. So these ones come in a little box, and what you do, you take your spade terminal, you stick it over the wire, so you strip the end of the wire like that, take your spade terminal, you put it on, and then you can see that this thing has got metal at this end and it's plastic at this end. And what you do, you put the wire through so that the bare metal is on the metal, and then you squeeze it. You can use a pair of pliers, bite it nice and tight so that it's got the wire, or preferably use a set of these, which are crimping tools. And what these do, they've got the different ones there. You put this through, you put the wire in, and then you squeeze it, and this thing ratchets, and it won't let go until it's crimped. So you have to be careful you don't put your finger in, because it won't let go. So that's what I do. Put some of those on the ends of the wires. There we go. Let's do the red one first. Put the thing in so that it lines up, and then do the crimp. That should have grabbed the wire nice and tight. Nice and simple. We get the second one, stick it in the crimper, so we make sure that the crimper lines up. There's a little sort of a lug on the crimper that pushes down on the metal. So put it in, take that, and again it's already been stripped. Put that there, crimp it, and again we've got it. Okay, so now we can plug it in. So the next step then, before I actually hang this thing on the roof, what I'm going to do is plug it in and make sure that it works. Make sure that everything is good. So that goes in there, that goes in there, and then let's see if it switches on. Yes, it does, so that's all good. Make sure those are sound, and then I can post that back into this hole ready for fixing. So I've sort of lined it up pretty much where the old one was, and on this one I don't need to take the top off. There are just 3 screws which go in through here. Now, putting the screws in, really important. What you do, you look where the wires are running. Don't want to be putting the screw anywhere near where the wires are running, because you're going to put the screw through it. Sod's law says the screw will go right through the wire, stop it working. So in this case, the wires are running pretty much along there. So if I put this like that, I'm going to be okay. There we are. So let's get the screws. So in an ideal world, you would put the screws back where the original screws went, because they're most likely they're along a piece of wood on the inside. Now, obviously, this is not an ideal world. I can't quite line mine up, so I'm going to have to put them just into the wood as it is. So the first one is the most difficult, because I'm trying to hold it and do it the screw at the same time. Okay, so the others should be a bit easier. And the third one. One thing about this, try and use screws that are a similar length to the ones that came out. That way you're not going to risk poking it through the top of the caravan or anything like that. So, and if there are any other wires hanging around, power back on. If there are any other wires hanging around, then you won't go through them. Okay, job done. Just check the others are working. Good, so that's it. That's all it takes. Be careful, take it slowly. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.